Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Friday, September 15th. We're going to take a look at Lucid today. So Lucid coming back up today to touch our downtrend resistance, which we put in as an origination point way back here on July 11th. And we see it's trying to escape a time or two, but attempts have all failed, especially most recently. And sort of trying to scoop off of this low of 564. I know it was previously lower than that, but not by much, 546. And then 564, so that'll be confusing. And trying to continue to build off of this 581 level that we had in there, as well as this 598. Now it got stuck between the two today. I thought we'd go in there. Might be a level taking shape right around here. I'm pretty confident, right about 589. Let's put it in here on the daily, and then when we zoom in, we can sort of perfect it if it's not yet perfected. But I think that's going to be right. Top of this candle body, bottom of this candle body, bottom of this candle body. So not too bad. We'll see if it sort of persists or not. So few levels in between here, but the way that Lucid sort of tends to bat itself around and then make a move, that's just sort of accumulates a bunch of price action. So, increased volume today. Now, there was obviously down days, and like QQQ as well, came down quite a bit today, over 1.5%. So, it's a lot for major indices to draw down. So I'm sure that was part of sort of what it got caught up in, at least for the volume piece of it, I would expect. But it is interesting that particular to Lucid, it came up and shrugged right off of that downtrend resistance that we had in there. So a couple of things to keep an eye on there. Pick up and sell volume, shrugged off the downtrend resistance again, is now sort of, I guess we could say, 2 levels below where it would need to get to test the downtrend resistance again. Pretty soon that downtrend resistance is going to get just 1 level away. So if it can hold here, it's going to continue to close in on it more and more and more. But we'll just have to sort of keep an eye on it and see. So if we take a look at what this looked like intraday on the 10-minute, big buy volume at open, which I think was also the same. I just happen to have QQQ up here. No, QQQ was selling immediately. So big buy volume coming in at the bell, and this candle that ended at 940 was the one that shrugged off right there, came up, actually hit that 612 level that we had in. So not only did it shrug off the downtrend resistance, but it hit to the penny that 612 level that we had on the chart. As you see here, it was immediately not able to hold the 607, tried to catch the 598, lost it, bounced right off of that 589 that we just, that the one that we just put in, I think so, came up, bounced off the 598s, back down to the 589. So yeah, I think that that's the right level to have in there. So I feel good about that being the level to add in at the moments that will sort of give us something between this 581 and this 598. Because we see, if you had only had this and the 581 in there today, these would have just appeared to be kind of in no man's land, as it's, catching support in those zones. So flipping over here to the think or swim, now we do see the 180 to 200 EMA cloud situated well above the channel at the moment. So as we know, it's in a downtrend, but just as a reference point, that's up in the 8s at the moment. So if it were to be able to make a move all the way up there, it would have some pretty hefty resistance at that level. And it is also triggering on the TTM squeeze indicator. So last time it triggered on the TTM squeeze indicator, it started here, where the price was, I guess, just shy of $7. Very hard to see for me. But yeah, as it was triggering, it had a misfire there. And then when it fired, it drew it down. But I mean, by the time it had fired, it had made a pretty significant move already. So I don't know if that was the best call out, to be honest. I mean, I know that it continued to make moves, but it was already making moves, and even some pretty pretty big ones while triggering. So we'll see if sometimes the second trigger and fire actually has more results than the first. But, it is an indicator, so who knows? It can always sort of give you a misread, if you will. Now, on the channel side of things, we see it's just continue to be stuck in the downtrend, and here's what I mean. On the Webull side of things, just to clarify, the most important thing for Lucid to get out of this downtrend is to get out from under this downtrend resistance. And not just because that would mean that it's moving upward in price, but because that's what's perpetually halting all of its attempts to move up. So that's why it needs to come over, because that's what's being the biggest resistant to it being able to reverse trend. Now, same idea here on the channel. We see it pinned to the channel here. This was back at the beginning of August. Fell underneath, and then it got shoved down toward the lower bound of the channel, right back up to the mid-range, shrugged it off again, back down toward the lower bound of the channel. Now today, once again, reaching up to the mid-range of the channel and getting shrugged off. So is it going to be able to pin itself between this bound, this mid to low bound, and the mid-range, and then maybe build itself a little base and try to push through? That's going to be necessary for it to get some upward momentum. You see back here where it did have some upward momentum came from the lower bound and was able to smoothly move right through. And then, kind of a near miss here on this candle. So it bounced off the channel, came back toward the mid-range, and was able to catch some, like a second wave of bullish momentum. We'd have to go back so far, I feel like, to get a really good example of a retouch on the mid-range. I guess this may kind of be it. Came through the mid-range, didn't quite get to the upper bound, came back, clearly tested the mid-range with these two candles, and then it gave it a reboot, right? It was push through the resistance level, which is the mid-range of the channel, come back and confirm support, and that gives you the much bigger push way up out of the channel. And then here, when it came down and retested, it looked like it might be able to confirm support again, but quickly lost it, and then that resulted in a large sell-off, and that's just sort of persisted more or less since that time period. So that's sort of what I mean. If it can come up and get kind of a retest and reconfirm support off of there, that could be interesting. But short of that, it's once again triggering, once again appearing as though it's, at least for now, shrugging off the mid-range of the channel as well as the downtrend resistance. So those are the keys to any trend reversal as I see it. But you see these big volume candles, right? The big ones that sort of stand out are predominantly or all sell volume. So we will see. All right, folks, I hope you had a good trading week and that you enjoy your weekend. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.